Democratic Senator and 2020 presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand calls for an assault weapons ban and a mandatory buyback program of firearms. She says if law-abiding American citizens refuse to let the government take away our guns, we will be slapped with an aggravated felony if she is president. Watch.
So I think we should ban assault weapons as well as large magazines, and as part of passing that ban, do a buyback program across the country so that those who own them can be compensated for their money that they spent. But I think both of those ideas are strong. I think having the mandatory buyback combined, well, you don't want people to retain them, because if you make them illegal, you don't want to grandfather in all the assault weapons that are all across America. You would like people to sell them back to the government so that you can make sure people who shouldn't have access to these weapons couldn't have them. So the point is, you don't want people using assault weapons. And so the point is, if you are arrested for using an assault weapon, you're going to have an aggravated felony. I mean, the whole point is, when you make it a crime to own an assault weapon, then if you are found using it, that would be the issue.
All right, let's talk about the truth here. Let's talk about this woman-to-woman, Senator Gillibrand. 200,000 times a year, women defend ourselves against sexual assault with a firearm. 200,000 times a year. You claim to stand up for women fighting back against sexual abuse, but do you? Since you're trying to take away our guns? Not only are you trying to take away our capacity to defend ourselves as women, you want to punish and prosecute people. You said we would be slapped with an aggravated felony if we refuse to surrender our legally owned firearms to the government. With all due respect, ma'am, gun control is not only unconstitutional, it's anti-woman. And stop insulting our intelligence by calling this a buyback program. The government cannot buy back something they never owned. The government has never owned my firearm. I own it, and you have no right to take it away. This is gun confiscation. You claim to care about women's rights, Senator, but you don't. You don't respect my constitutional right as a woman to keep and bear arms. You say you want to ban so-called assault weapons, but what does that mean? Are you talking about semi-automatic rifles? Are you talking about AR-15s specifically? Will you expand that made-up definition to include all semi-automatic weapons, including perhaps handguns? Senator Gillibrand, as a woman in the public eye, I receive death threats and rape threats and other horrible threats of violence against me. And let me tell you, if I'm confronted by an angry 250-pound man, how am I supposed to defend myself with my bare hands? But put a firearm in my hands and I stand a fighting chance. Senator Gillibrand, as you can see, gun rights are women's rights. Gun issues are women's issues. There's a reason that firearms are called the great equalizer, because they give women a fighting chance against attackers who are physically bigger and stronger than we are. In fact, AR-15s are easier for many women to operate than a shotgun. You don't need me to tell you that less than 3% of firearms-related homicides in our nation are committed with rifles. You know that already. You don't need me to tell you that criminals don't care about laws. They're going to get their hands on guns anyway, even if you force gun control on law-abiding citizens. You know that already. You don't need me to tell you that if you claim to stand up for women's rights and then you try to take away my right as a woman to protect my body, myself, and my family, if you try to use the government to forcibly take away my firearms under the penalty of aggravated felony, you are not fighting for my rights as a woman. You're making more women sitting ducks. But you already know that. And that is my final point.